Well, I'm going to film on my phone today because I forgot to charge my camera and I need to do a haul. So let's get into it. We'll start off with something I mentioned I had, but I couldn't find it, and that's Game of Thrones Season 4 on Blu-ray. Girlfriend got it for me for my birthday. And I've watched it and I loved it. It's my favorite season so far. So, yeah. Next, I got a DVD here. Gorilla Interrupted, Red Letter Media's first movie. It also has the documentary, How Not to Make a Movie, The Making of Gorilla Interrupted, which I have not watched yet. But I really enjoyed this movie. It's absolutely terrible, but it's a wonderful kind of terrible. So, cool to have that. Next, I grabbed an Star Wars Insider a while back that I just kept forgetting to show you guys. And it's Star Wars Insider number 28. It has the first look at the special editions. So this is mid to late 90s. Oldest Star Wars Insider to date for me personally. So that's cool. Next, I grabbed another Star Wars thing. This is the only other Star Wars thing in this haul. It's a digest book. Star Wars Ewoks, Shadows of Endor. I had never heard of this. It's Dark Horse Star Wars, but no one ever talks about this one. But it's in that digest size that was meant for kind of kids. They did the Clone Wars Adventures, and Adventures in this size. So this is the only Ewoks one I know of. So this should be interesting. It's shortly before Return of the Jedi. Moving on with trades, I grabbed the DC Dark Horse collection Aliens, which has Batman Aliens 1 and 2, Batman Aliens 2, 1 through 3, Superman and Batman vs. Aliens and Predator 1 and 2, and Wildcats Aliens number 1. So it's got quite a bit of stuff. They did a Superman one of these as well that they just released, and I'm thinking I'm going to grab that. But I'm waiting for Batman Predator. I need that in my life. Next, staying with DC, we got Road to Rebirth, Superman, Lois, and Clark. This and Titan Hunt I should have read when they came out because it would have made Rebirth make so much more sense. I don't have Titan Hunt yet, but I plan on getting that soon. So, yeah. Glad to have this. It's at the top of my reading pile after Horror Month. Next, we'll go to a DC sub company, Vertigo, and we're going to look at The Losers, Book 2. Loved Book 1, never bought Book 2, and so finally, I officially bought Book 2. Really excited for that. Next, I bought this. This is a slipcase, because these are my three favorite Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo Bat books. And this one's got some funk on it. It's Court of the Owls, Night of the Owls, and Death of the Family. And I didn't have these in print. I had them digitally. So yeah, they changed the covers. I don't know if it's for the better or not. They're interesting. Death in the Families is probably the best. Death of the Families is the best by far. But yeah, these are, I consider the best three storylines. Technically two. 1 and 2 kind of are one storyline. And 3 is the second. But this was the best of the new 52 Batman run, in my opinion. Endgame was really good. Zero Year was tedious. And everything after Endgame, the whole Bloom storyline, and then the rebirth of Bruce Wayne, that was just bad, in my opinion, and dragged. Lastly, we got a hardcover here. Predator versus Judge Dredd versus Aliens. This collects the Incubus story and some other short stories in here. They reference the Incubus story in the new series of these, so I went ahead and bought this just for reference. Let's move on to some paperbacks. I grabbed another Wheel of Time book, which is The Shadow Rising. It's book 4. picked this up for less than $1. All of these picked up less than $1. Next, I picked up some Margaret Weis, Tracy Hickman books that aren't Dragonlance. They're the Sovereign Stone trilogy. I got book 1, Well of Darkness. Book 2, Guardians of the Lost. And book 3, Journey into the Void. If I ever see Margaret Weis again, or I happen to meet Tracy Hickman, I'll have more stuff for them to sign. Alright, let's move on to one of the big highlights of this. There's a Lucasfilm property that has an expanded universe that no one ever talks about. That is the Indiana Jones expanded universe. It has a very similar sort of story to the Star Wars one. There was like a Marvel Comics Indiana Jones series, and then there was a Dark Horse Indiana Jones comic series. There's all sorts of stuff. There was an Indiana Jones RPG. I don't know if it was done by West End Games, like the Star Wars one was, but it was similar to that. And there were Bantam novels. And I got the first 5 of them today, all by Rob McGregor. First one is Parallel. Next, Dance of the Giants. Some really cool Bantam-esque covers. The Seven Veils. The Genesis Deluge. And lastly, The Unicorn's Legacy. Maybe when we ever do a Legend podcast again, I'll talk about some of these on there. I'm very excited to have these, by the way. I want to get into the whole Indiana Jones expanded universe, because in all honesty, I don't think Disney will touch it like they did Star Wars, because there's not a lot of it, and it goes under the radar. Basically, people mainly remember the movies, of course, and they kind of remember the shortly lived TV show, Young Indiana Jones, and there was, I think, a spin-off movie of that, TV movie. Other than that, it's not really talked about ever. And these Bantam Indiana Jones books never really took off like Star Wars did, so they kind of abandoned them, which is a real shame. So, yeah. Excited about all this stuff. Hopefully, I'll get to read some of it. Sorry. Choked on myself. Anyway, everyone, have a nice day.